Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Good in Motion podcast. Today, we have a very special guest because Sarita Fichtner is here with us. Hi, Sarita.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
I'm so happy you're here with us too. So, I'm going to start with a big question, which is how do you present yourself these days?
Oh, that is a great question. So, at the beginning of this year, I was really intentional and I have been quite committed to the intentions that I set. And so I feel like I'm at the end of this transformation. And I was just at an event where we were discussing what the word for the remainder of the year would be for us. And what came to mind for me was embodiment. And I really right now feel like I am embodying what I had, originally set the intention for and just really stepping into my power. And even though I have resistance in saying all of those things, I am finally at a place where I can really own it. And so I just feel like I'm presenting myself in a powerful, authentic way. And it feels good to say that.
I love it. I'm here for it. And I love that you touch also on the subject of maybe letting go of someone you were before and becoming this new person. So, what exactly, concretely, do you have a title or that you present yourself with?
Well, I think it all ties back to my book launch, which was October 7th and the weekend of October 5th and 6th. And as a first time children's book author, I didn't really realize what it would mentally take to step into that role. And I think I started off by thinking, okay, I'm going to write a book. It's okay if one person buys it, like I'm doing this for me. And the book, the story that ended up coming out of me was to me so powerful, so profound. And I mean, it's a children's book story. It's a fun and vibrant story, but I now feel so proud and so good about it that I want to share it with the world. So I am really stepping into this vision that I have of myself who is successful in all areas and who has just this platform with the ability to get my book out there into anybody's hands. And so, as far as a title, yeah, Sarita, the children's book author. I'm an author now. That just is kind of a blanket statement for feeling like I'm living authentically for the first time, like I have not just the confidence, but also the self-worth, which is so important. And I think that sums it up.
That's beautiful. And the subject of worthiness has been, I feel, more touched on this year, maybe. But congratulations first on this huge milestone. Like from having the idea of, oh, I'm going to write a children's book to actually leading it to completion. It's such a long journey, and I'm sure there was many chapters to it. So what's the name of the book and what is it about?
So the book is called Pop Out Loud, First Day of School, and I am planning to write a series. The book is about a colonel who pops into a popcorn on the first day of school as he experiences big feelings. It is about embracing sensitivity and honoring emotions, and really just a reminder to everyone that hard moments in your day don't have to mean you're going to have a bad day or a hard day. Being human isn't about being happy. It's about the full experience of human emotions. And it's okay to have really big feelings, because when you are able to embrace that about yourself, it can make every day so fulfilling on such a rich level. And I think if we can give children the tools to recognize that right from the start, we will see a really large scale shift in mental health.
So a lot of people would definitely argue around, like, there's so many more things that we should have learned in schools. Why specifically did you choose this topic for your first children's book?
It's a really interesting process what happened to me, actually, because I sat down, and the reason I decided to write and publish a book in the first place was because I wanted to design my dream life. Mm-hmm. And I have always gravitated to children's books. I was always writing when I was younger. Of course, as you grow up and kind of get socially conditioned in certain ways, some things that are authentic to you fall to the side. And so I was finally at this place where I was ready to go, and I thought, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a really fun, goofy story with no message behind it. And then the story that ended up coming out was just felt so powerful and like it had this huge message, and I was like, okay, we're going in this direction. And it evidently came from the experiences that I had as a highly sensitive child and that I am having now as a highly sensitive parent. And I didn't realize how much of the population actually has similar experiences and lives with highly sensitive nervous systems. And so to know that there is this massive world and community out there of highly sensitive mm-hmm. people, and to know that we can all thrive while we are in the right both external and internal environments, it's just kind of a groundbreaking feeling to me. It feels like like there should be more awareness on this. And I do think emotions are they're so telling of our physical health. They're so telling of what we actually want out of life. And not enough people, even our age, know how to process them. And it feels like a very new subject. And I just feel like, oh my gosh, if there could be a class on emotions in school, in elementary school, that would be such a game changer. And I just feel like there couldn't be enough information on this topic. And so going forward, I think there's a rise on the information that mm-hmm. is coming out now and the awareness. But going forward, I'm just excited to see more of it and help it become more accepted and normalized.
Yeah, I agree with you that the topic of mental health is definitely one that I think we will all benefit from learning more in schools. And I found that very interesting that you started writing the book with just like without a specific message, and yet you navigated around this specific topic. So do you find that first, what is a highly sensitive person? Because it's by learning more about your material and your story that I first heard about mm-hmm. this term. Also, I think it's called HSP. Mm-hmm. So yes, what is a highly sensitive person? So
highly sensitive people have an increased sensitivity of their nervous mm-hmm. system, which results in a deeper cognitive processing of social, physical, and emotional stimuli. And this is a relatively newer term. It's actually mm-hmm. a personality trait. And I'm honored that you learned about it through me. That's really cool. This term was coined in the 90s. I believe it was 1996. So that's still, it's not that long ago. And it really essentially means like you feel deeply, whether that's positive or negative. And in the 90s, when this term was discovered, all of the findings, or at least most of the findings, not all, were more negative, and they were kind of like things like scares easily, or prone to overwhelm, or prone to anxiety and depression, things like that. And now we are finding that the positives are just kind of endless. And if people are supported, HSPs are supported in their environments, both, again, internally and externally, they can absolutely thrive off of having a highly sensitive nervous system and just live such a purposeful, fulfilling life that's honestly next level. And it definitely plays a huge role. Understanding if you are highly sensitive plays a huge role in mental health, and it did for me. I mean, for me, I can think back to at least 6 years old, as early as 6 years old, experiencing anxiety and depression that carried on throughout my 20s. And looking back, I do believe that that wasn't a true part of me, and it was just very situational, and happened, or was the aftermath of me existing in environments that weren't set up to support a highly sensitive nervous system. And I think that it all starts with, your own understanding of this trait. And that's why if we can bring awareness to children who might identify with it, or maybe their friends identify with it, then there can be just so many conversations and so much self-awareness that can be gathered at that age.
So if a person recognizes themselves through the description you just gave, what can they do? What would be the next step for them?
Because it's a personality trait, and it is such a complex personality trait, one of the first steps you can do is go to hsperson.com, which is the website that was established by the Dr. Elaine Aron, who coined the term. And she has a number of self-tests there. If you think your child might be highly sensitive, if you think you might be highly sensitive. And it's just a self-test with very relatable items on each line that will help you determine yes or no, what side you might be on when it comes to sensitivity, or being not sensitive, or being highly sensitive. And right now, about 20% of the world identifies as highly sensitive, but I do believe that it is a lot more than that, and people just don't know that it's okay to express their emotions or to own their emotions. And so many people have the ability of just, putting them under the rug or repressing them. My emotions always felt so big that I could never, even attempt to put them away. But I think from then realizing, that's me for sure, my advice would be learn as much as you can. I read the book The Highly Sensitive Person by Dr. Elaine Aron, and that is what changed my whole world. And as soon as you realize what kind of things, will make you feel comfortable, or as soon as you hear it from somebody who's a doctor, it really does kind of validate so much experience that in the past probably brought you shame or guilt or pain in some way. And so you're almost freed in a sense when you can learn more about the trait itself. And then from there, from learning more about it, then I would say start connecting online and offline with the people in your life who seem to be more like-minded. And usually HSPs are quite intuitive and can get a good read on other people. And so those people that make you feel good intuitively, or somebody online on a social media platform that really resonates, I would just follow more people like that, surround yourself with more people like that. And then it starts to kind of all click.
Yeah, and there is so much to unpack here. So first, I do believe that when we name something, even I know it's a practice when it comes to fear, that naming the fear or naming a situation to acknowledge it, it helps us move forward. So I can't even imagine the blessing it must have been to find like someone put a word on what you experienced, and it must feel almost validating and like, oh, other people are going through this. But also when you mentioned that 20% of the population are HSPs, and probably even more, that means 1% out of 5. And I'm thinking I'm 30 years old, and it's the first time I hear this personality trait. So there's definitely more spreading that needs to happen. And there was so many knowledge that you just shared. So I'm trying to find the question I had. Oh yes. So when you read this book, what changed for you? Like, did you implement new things in your daily habits to make you thrive?
Question. Yeah, absolutely. I was at quite a low point when I found the book, and I was desperately looking for self-help books. I was not looking for anything to do with sensitivity because I didn't really know about it. And so when I read it and things started to click for me, I was able to set up boundaries in my life and be like, yes, I can set this boundary up because I am a highly sensitive person. And, like I felt empowered in setting up these boundaries. And that was so huge for me. That's when things really started to change. And I started stepping into who I always was, but I would push that away before. And so, along with boundaries, I just kind of started doing a lot of introspection and really just questioning all of my emotions and kind of dissecting them like a scientist. And that was a very helpful way of slowing down big reactions and also of figuring out what it is that I like and what it is that I don't like and what I want out of life. And from there, I just found my voice a little more, and slowly, but also not that slowly. Like, this was only 4 years ago that I found the book, and my life has completely changed. So yeah, slowly I was able to kind of just build the foundation of setting up for my dream life. And I'm just so happy because I'm literally living it now. So yeah, it's very cool.
I really love that this is happening for you, and indeed the fact that you came up with this project and led it to completion, it's just a big reward and proof of how I believe this book must have changed you. You talked about boundaries, so what would that look like concretely?
Just feeling zero guilt in things like turning down events, or if certain people are asking, for me to come to engagements that don't feel 100% aligned. That's kind of a good way to put it. Anything in my life that comes to me that doesn't feel 100% aligned, just having the ease of saying no without feeling the need to explain, without feeling guilt. The power of elimination also. So taking away anything that just feels like it's too much or that it's not working. And prioritizing as an HSP, it's really important to get time and find the time to recharge. And I'm a parent of a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. And so it's the most busy season ever for me. So I do prioritize recharging at some point if I can every day, which sounds impossible, but even if it's a few minutes here and there. And then when I get bigger stretches, on the weekend or something, like sometimes I'll carve out like a whole afternoon or morning where it seems funny, but I just say like, okay, I'm not scheduling anything then. And then something like seemingly fun might come up, but it's just not worth it for me to give up that time. And then also just kind of reminding myself that there are no rules, like other people's judgment and the social constructs of the world are all just like literally made up things. And so everything can be shaped and designed by my own brain.
So does that mean if it sounds to me like you listen to yourself a lot, you check in with yourself to see what your mind, maybe your body needs in the moment. Does that mean that you don't go outside of your comfort zone?
That's a great question. I look at it as, okay, highly sensitive people, if you're existing here on Earth, we are going out of our comfort zone multiple times a day, every single day. It's so exhausting. And I believe that personally, I or HSPs or anybody who this resonates with, we can experience so much growth within our comfort zone. And I think for highly sensitive people in particular, when you feel comfortable, you can finally breathe and learn and get curious and get excited. And when you're uncomfortable, I cannot learn. I honestly I think I missed out on a lot of education in my life because I was so overwhelmed in school. And when teachers would do things like call on me or like, try to push you outside of your comfort zone, I would freeze. And I retained that as shame for so long instead of learning any actual lessons. So I look at it now as expanding your comfort zone instead of stepping outside of it. And all the things I'm doing now, self-publishing a book, the work that I had to do mentally to get on the level I needed to be to launch my book out into the world, to show up to book launches, to do a in-person story time, which like normally I would have, melted into a puddle on the floor at the thought of that. But that was all within this realm where I feel so aligned. I definitely feel nervous almost every day because of what I've done, because of this book that I've created. But it's this, I can honor the nervousness now because I know that it's part of the human experience, and I can kind of I can neutralize it a bit because I sit with it. But I honor it because it's from something that makes me feel aligned. It's from something that aligns with me. And so it's not me trying to step out of my comfort zone and go work in like a tech office or become a lawyer. And that would just break me because it's not who I am. Even though it's out of my comfort zone, I would learn nothing,
I just love how you reframed the comfort zone, and that you're saying we can stay in our comfort zone, but but expanding it from inside. So it's almost like we're inside that room, comfy room, and we're just pushing a little bit the walls around us. I really love this. It's the first time I hear this.
Oh, yeah. I definitely, looking at it like that just makes me kind of think of like being in the gym, and you're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And so you're able to push it more, but you're all doing it from like within. So it just feels safe. But at the same time, as safe as this feels, I am learning and expanding more than I ever have in my entire life. So
this is magical. I'm very glad that you were able to find that to reframe things so it fits you and helps you, go and create your dream life. And this is exactly what we're about on this podcast. Me doing this podcast is building my dream life as well. So I love that you've been using the same vocabulary. And a question I ask all of my guests is, what is a recent win that you had in your personal or professional life? And of course, the book Pop Out Loud is a big one. So it could be this one or another one if you want.
Oh, I do feel like there have been so many wins lately. And I honestly think it's because when people start living their authentic life, you step into a flow and then you start attracting all of these good things. But I guess I was so resistant in sending out a few invites to the in-person Storytime book launch I had at a bookshop and over the weekend, and just hitting send. It felt like a win that validated me pushing my comfort zone. And so that was really, really great. And definitely, definitely the book launch, everything kind of just came together on October 7th. So super recent. And yeah, I'm just over the moon.
For those emails, I'm just very curious. Did you hold your finger onto the enter and kind of...
Yeah, I was just kind of I made this little flyer, and I was just staring at it, and I had all the people in my mind who I could be sending it to, and I was like, okay, I probably should have sent this to them a couple days ago. And then I got it ready, exactly what you said. And then the actual action of hitting send was a very powerful one.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad you did. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Sometimes it's just a little, I think people don't even think about it, but it's just those action. And I love that you use that technique as well of just preparing everything until that one last action where you have to take and build up all the courage just to click the send button.
Exactly.
It must have been so rewarding. So I'm happy for you.
Thank you so much.
For our listeners who want to learn more about your book that is now available worldwide, where can they find out more about the book and also yourself?
Yeah, so my website is saritaimagined.com, and the same with my social media handles. On Instagram, I try to share a lot of the self-publishing process as well as the message behind the book, and the website will have all the same as well as where to find the book, different places you can purchase. And if any of this resonates with anyone listening, definitely please feel free to send me a message and say hi, because I love connecting with people who have shared experiences or thoughts.
Thank you so much, Sarita, for being here with us today and for spreading the message around HSPs and also for Pop Out Loud that I can't wait to read. And thank you again and have a nice day.
Thank you so much for having me. We should do this again soon.